Hello guys, and thanks for joining me. Today we are dungeon guiding through Halatali story mode, the fourth dungeon you will come across, and one of my favourite dungeons. So this is going to be from the tank perspective, so let's just dive straight in and see what we get. So Halatali is, in story mode at least, a sort of rundown set of caverns, and yeah, with some very interesting monsters in it. So we've got ourselves a conjurer, a pugilist, and a thaumaturge. Excellent. So you see, level cap's at 23. We'll be synced to 23, which means still no sword oath or shield oath. So first of all, we're going to come across one doctor and one heckler imp. Now these are going to be the mainstays of enemies you'll face in here. So I would take out the doctor first, as it certainly hits the hardest. But again, always make sure to keep through it so your healer doesn't pull hit. Nothing too special, keep them pointing away from everybody. Very simple, you're still getting eased into dungeons in general here. Again, simple combos, fast blade, savage blade, no problem. Proceeding down the stairs, we find 3 more here, but we can actually double back and go up these stairs here to pick up an additional treasure chest, which is guarded by, once again, a doctor and a heckler imp. So we're just flashing a couple of times just to build up a little bit of hate, since we don't have things like Circle of Scorn, which we'll get to in just a bit. So yeah, there's some AoE attacks from the doctor. The heckler imp doesn't do anything special whatsoever. Just plenty of time on the telegraphs from the doctor. Just get out of the way. Give your healer a little bit of mana. And there's our treasure coffer. It's mostly junk, but you know, ether is helpful, especially at the sort of low levels, 2023. There's some more enemies over there. There's nothing to reward you killing them. But we'll grab this gas bomb to stop it being an inconvenience later. The gas bombs will self-destruct after a certain amount of time, which at levels like 23 will pretty much kill anybody in the blast radius, so make sure you take it out quickly. If you can get it on its own, that's perfect, because then you can focus all the DPS on it, and it's no problem at all. Next up, 2 heckler imps and a doctor. Again, doctor first. And we're just going to pop up a rampart there just for the reduce your damage taken by 20% for 20 seconds. Which is nice, just to give your healer a little bit of time off. But again, nothing too special, just stay out the way of the AoEs. It's pretty straightforward. You could use Shield Bash, I guess, to interrupt the AoE, but there's so much time. Telegraphs are so long that it's easier. So as we come down here, we come into this sort of large circular room. You see there's a couple of gas bombs just orbiting, along with doctors and heckler imps in the middle. So again, we're going to grab the gas bomb while it's on its own, just so we can focus the DPS in taking it out. That is the primary objective, so that it doesn't have a chance to self-destruct and kill anybody. And we could wait for the other one, but it's far enough away that we can just fire in and grab this Doctor and Heckler Imps. We're probably going to end up with the gas bomb on us at some point, so when it does appear, I'm going to fire up a waymark on it, just so we know that it needs to go down fairly quickly. Although it seems to be staying out of range so far, which is good. There's a gas bomb. Let's just focus our attacks on that. Oh, there's another one. We've got both of them now. Great. We're just going to stick our marks up on these 1 and 2. And because the Thaumaturge is throwing out AoE, I'm just going to use Flash a couple of times to make sure that I don't know. Here's the self-destruct, so everybody out the way. And then we simply just take out these imps. Very straightforward. Then we go up the hill. As you can see, there's enemies waiting for us at the top of the hill. Doctors, Heckler Imps. Nothing special so far. So we throw out some flashes to keep a hold of them. Want them away from everybody. Sidestep the AoE. Nice and easy. There goes the Doctor. And here go the imps. And this is going to take us into our first boss of the dungeon. I don't like these noises. Something's connecting and disconnecting. Anyway, so yeah, first boss is going to be the Fireman. So Fireman just a sprite, and as you see around here, there's gated doors 1, 2, and 3. And from these doors is going to come little fire sprites, which you DPS need to pick up and kill, because if they reach the big fire in the middle, they'll do AoE damage to everybody. So that's not good. Nobody likes that. So you see the room sort of lights up. That means that the first gate is open and the Demantas are coming, and the first one will always be over here, behind this pillar here. So the DPS need to go and pick that up and destroy it. They take almost no damage. They have such a low HP that, you know, any DPS can take them by themselves. 1 or 2 hits and it's taken care of. So they're going for the LB early, which is fine. Doesn't really make any difference in these dungeons when you use the limit break. So by the looks of things, the second one, which is the middle ground, as you can see back here, has opened up. And again, DPS just need to go and pick them up. At the same time, the first one will also open. So you need to have 2 DPS picking them up, and then finally the third one will open up towards the end of the fight. But other than that, it's very simple. Tank doesn't pick up the ads because they're so so low HP. And also they don't have an aggro table, so you can't really pick them up. The tank just wails away on firemen. Remember to pop your fight or flight as well. 30% increase in physical damage. It's not going to do much, but it's better than nothing. And since the tank, you're going to be the main damage dealer too, firemen, you might as well get your bonus where you can. And that's him pretty much down. And there he is, and that gives us our first treasure coffer of, well, any importance anyway. And so ethereal padded leather duckbills. Now to get to the next room, you need to jump into this blue fire where it says ethereal flow. Just right click and jump in. I have seen new players to the dungeon just standing in that room waiting, which is a little awkward when you have to tell them to jump into the fire. So some new enemies now. We're going to come up against some scythe mantises and also a cobra too, just to add to the excitement. Let me try and find out what on earth is causing this. I have a funny feeling it's the webcam. That'll shut it up. Okay, so first up, two scythe mantises. Now, there's nothing too special about these. They do hit a bit harder than certainly the Heckler imps. But really, you just deal with them in exactly the same manner. Basic 1-2 combo, couple of flashes in there at the start to hold aggro, and all is good. All is very good. There they go. The next one, Colosseum Python, is the danger here, so we want to mark that up as number 1. Get rid of it. Now, I like to clear everything out before I open up these chain winches, but I see the DPS in here just pulled that one. Let's say personally, I like to clear out this little area and then open both of them, but I don't suppose it makes any great difference in what order you do it. But when you open these chain winches, you see that one behind me there. When you open them, you'll either receive a treasure coffer with junk in it, ethers, potions, or there'll be a gas bomb in it, which will self-destruct as soon as it takes any damage. So just shield lob it and get out of the way of the AoE. Or the booby prize, so to speak, is 3 lightning sprites. There's the gas bomb. So we'll just shield lob that, and then everybody out of the way. That's fine. Now you have to open up all 5 of these chain winches, otherwise the door into the final set of rooms will not open. Next pull we have 3 scythe mantises. Again, nothing too out of the ordinary. Just grab them, hold them. Fun away from everyone, especially if you've got a melee DPS. So a Lancer or a Pugilist, just because it makes their rotations easier, because they need back and side access. I'd say no real issues here. Defensive cooldowns can help, obviously, if you've unlocked Foresight. Use that as well. It's fine. So, progressing through, you see, love the aesthetic, the sort of ruined, proper dungeon, and find a wandering Scythe Madness. It can sometimes add itself, if you get the timing slightly off, it can add itself to the 3 that we just beat. But all in all, the chances are you're going to have this one on its own, and mere seconds it'll go down. And then we find ourselves with another Colosseum Python and 2 Scythe Mantises. Again, Python is the big danger here. It's got a nasty AoE. Generally hits pretty hard, so mark it up as number 1. Get the DPS to focus it down, and you should be okay. Again, nothing too out of the ordinary here. As you can see, this Python has been left with a tiny bit of health. It's not focused on me anymore, as I'd worked it down to a point that I felt it was on the verge of death. But then everyone else changed their focus as well. And here's the booby prize, the 3 lightning sprites hiding behind this. They're not difficult in any way. They're just annoying. You know, treasure coffer, you don't have to do anything. Just proceed through. Gas bomb, you don't have to do anything. It self-destructs. But the lightning sprites, you need to work them over. And it just adds a little bit of time onto what is a fairly quick dungeon. Now, instead of going straight on, you go down this little alleyway. Down here, I find another treasure coffer. Again, you're probably not going to find too much interesting. But an ethereal elm crook, you know, if you're leveling a conjurer, that's quite handy. And then we come across, once again, 2 Scythe Mantises and the Colosseum Python. Again, Python first. Throw out some flash. Make sure everything's hot. And then just wail away. Easy peasy. I do love this dungeon. It's a great aesthetic. The sort of abandoned Colosseum type. Certainly, you know, it gives off a great vibe, a great aesthetic with the sort of flame candles. Things are very, very different in the hard mode dungeon. You know, it looks very different. Another chain winch, and more lightning sprites. We'll just do our best to position these so that the pugilist has access to the back and sides. And we've managed to pick up a wandering Colosseum Python. Now this is not great. This is where the lightning sprites can become a danger. They're not difficult in themselves, but if you end up picking up a patrolling enemy as well, then the combined damage can be a little bit dangerous. So it doesn't look like it's any hassle here. The DPS guys all look like they know what they're doing. The healer seems to have everything under control, which is excellent. But a situation like this where you pick up a patrolling enemy And you've got the lightning sprites up as well. For an inexperienced group, that can lead to a wipe real quick. But no hassle here. So over we go, there's another chain winch here. Leave that alone. Take out, first of all, the python and the mantises. They're the dangers. If you were to open that chain winch at the same time and wind up with lightning sprites, you're going to be in a lot of trouble having to try and hold hate on 6 different enemies. And it's just a lot of work for your healer, so I would advise don't do that if you can possibly avoid it. Well, overall, they're not too much to worry about. Just keep an eye on everybody's hate bars. Make sure this is always red. Everything is good. So now we can pick up this chain winch. And it's just a gas bomb, so just shield lob that. And there it goes. Now that's opened this door, which has given us access to the second boss. Now, second boss is so you can go left or right here. Doesn't make a difference what way you go. But it's going to be this thunderclap ivre. Basically a big drake. And it's standing in a pool of water. And it's standing in a pool of water because it's a lightning-based enemy. And it will, at points during the battle, electrocute the water, so you need to get out of it. So pull it back towards the hill. And nice and tight against the back wall so that you've got access to the back and sides for the pugilist. Now, as you see, it disappears off. Do not chase it. Stay out of the water. The water goes sort of purple, and it will do fairly light damage per second, but if you try to fight it in the water, you're probably going to wipe. So then launches a slew of lightning sprites at you. Not great HP, so they can be taken out fairly quickly. I've never worked out in my tanking of this dungeon if they have a proper aggro table. I don't know. Just take them out as best you can. And you see the water. This leads us to a problem sometimes where, because you've got ranged, they can attack the boss while you can't. You're waiting for it to come out. So they can sometimes steal a little bit of aggro off you. It's no hassle, and just grab it back. Avoid the AoE, of course, and then it'll go for a second time back to the center. Charge up the water and unleash the lightning sprites. Again, it's nothing too drastic. He started doing AoEs on the floor as well. He's throwing sort of lightning balls at you. Again, the damage is pretty minimal, but make your healer's job easier by getting out of it. And once these have been taken out, then you'll be able to finish off the main boss. He will come back over. And we can finish him fairly simply. It's not a particularly difficult fight, as much as it is you just have to kind of pay attention. You know, don't stand in the glowing stuff, it's not great. kind of the basics. Now for this one we drop 2 treasure coffers. So there's some Doctor's Chainmail and some Ethereal Cotton Breeches. They're no use to us. Doctor's Chainmail is. When you reach 50 it can be turned in for Grand Company seals. So through the water spout, this brings us to the third and final part of the dungeon. First of all, we're going to come up against a new enemy, the Rudis Beak, which looked like it was stuck in the wall, but it's not. Again, nothing too special. I think a frontal area of effect and some auto attacks that are hitting for 45 to 65. Nothing dramatic. They've pulled some gas bombs. Gas bombs are further up. Not sure why they've been pulled here, but we'll just grab them. We are going to have to be ready to get out of the way because I don't think we're going to have the time to take them both out. Maybe, oh no, there we go. Yep, get out of the way. Everyone did, which is good. Then we come up here, we've got 2 Rudis Beaks and there's a patrolling gas bomb going around the outside. So we're going to pull these up towards the door here, just to try and keep everybody out of that patrolling gas bomb. You can see it around the back, just working its way around the arena. We might pick it up. We might have these down anyway, or at least low enough so it doesn't make a difference. I'll maybe just grab it while it's here. The 2 Rudis Beaks at the back, they don't hide anything interesting, so stay away from them. The treasure coffer in the middle of the platform, the sort of round platform, is a trap. Because when you go up here, you look up, the cage opens, and there's a pit beast hiding in the cage. So it can catch people unaware. It's nothing special. But it goes down fairly quickly. Body slam AoE, but it was down before it even got a chance to get it off. Treasure coffer there, a couple of vials of ether in it. Nothing too exciting. And we just ignore those 2 Rudis Beaks I think everyone else has. And that allows us to unlock this door, which takes us to the final boss of the dungeon. The Tangata. The Tangata, big guy in the middle here. And as you see around, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these sort of fiery alcoves. So what's going to happen? He's going to get tanked in the middle. You'll cast a large AoE on the ground. When that happens, little sprites will randomly come out of these alcoves. If they reach the center of the room, they'll do AoE damage. So there's the ground effect. We want to grab this fire sprite up here and let the DPS deal with the little Demantus and Noxious that are in there. So once you've taken out 3 of these big fire sprites, the AoE clears up and Tangata is open for business once again. We go back to waylaying him, and the DPS will take care of the little Demantus. In terms of his attacks, nothing too special. That ground effect AoE here will do, I mean, it's doing around 50 points of damage with a burn effect. His auto attacks are nothing too special. So again, for the second time, 3 fire sprites once they've been destroyed. He's back in business. Still Demantis coming from these alcoves here, which our DPS have picked up perfectly. So it's going to... There's a double smash, which is a cone ground effect. Again, just avoid it. There's plenty of time to get out of it. You shouldn't really be hit by it. Now, see, this time the Demantis are coming. No ground effect AoE, no fire sprites to pick up, which is fine. DPS can either take out the adds that are coming in, or they can just focus the boss and try to take him out. It doesn't make any difference. Either way, makes your healer's life a little bit easier if you take out the adds first of all, and just let the tank focus on the boss. Which is what they've gone for. So you see he's casting another ground effect. There was a... I mean, it didn't do much damage when one of the little fire sprites gets to the centre of the room and explodes. But easier to avoid them. And that's it. Halatali. All done. Remember to commend. Always like commendations. And obviously your treasure coffer at the end. Which in this case, for Dr. Tora, it's for Pugilist. So hopefully he will be able to use that. And this brings us to the end of Halatali. Next week we'll be in the 1000 Maws of Total Rack, another lovely dungeon, and one that's used as part of the main storyline as well. So thank you for tuning in. Remember, you can follow me on Twitter, which is twitter.com/MrBellatrix. The link is in the description below. You can also follow me on Twitch, where I'll be streaming a number of games, normally Final Fantasy or WildStar, and obviously subscribe to the channel as well. Over on Twitter, we are doing a giveaway, a prize which is yet to be uncovered. At the end of the month, we'll just do a random draw for all of our Twitter followers, and we'll give away something interesting. So thanks again for tuning in. I'll see you next time when we'll be in Total Rack.